Good morning, everybody. Welcome out to Board Game Breakfast. My name's Chris Yee.
I'm Wendy Yee.
And I'm Roy Kennedy.
Hey, today, there's a little bit of an odd situation in the office. It didn't have power at the start of the day.
And then I'm pretty sure our internet burnt.
Wait, we're not live?
We are
I mean,
live.
you're alive.
We're
You're
live
not a ghost.
through the magic of post-editing and all this stuff. So we are not exactly live,
Pre-recorded
but we're
magic.
broadcasting this live.
There were like char marks on our modems. Like literal char marks. I'm like, why does it look like Charmander attacked this thing?
Yeah,
What's going on?
I think we got struck by a bolt of lightning, literally. So what that means is we are posting this kind of after the fact of recording it.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason we're mentioning that is because the rest of this week, some of the plans kind of depend on whether we get internet back.
They may be shifting.
Yeah, so there might be some shifts in the schedule
see what
and stuff.
happens.
We'll keep you posted, but if you're on the Dice Tower Facebook group or the Discord, we'll keep announcements and stuff going there. So make sure to go join us and everything. Other than that, though, this week will be normal.
Yeah, let's talk about some Kickstarter backers. All right, so we want to say thank you to Doug Stafford,
Doug!
Kelsey Vienanick,
Nice.
Konstantin Sudarkov,
Absolutely.
the
really easy to
Waters
say.
family, Wesley, Melanie, Amelia, and Abigail,
Can't forget Abigail.
Juliana and Mario from Croatia,
Oh,
Yes,
nice.
thank you.
and then Dejan, like in Jean-Claude Van Damme.
There you go.
And then Dennis Wolf, Sammy Tanja, and Epu Makinen. And then finally, Thor Svanderland.
Absolutely. Yes.
We appreciate you guys so much. So very, very much.
Yes. And I'm not going to say that we appreciate more when you have a fun name to say live, especially when we make Wendy say it.
But we definitely appreciate
But we
all of
even
that.
more appreciate your pronunciation guides.
There
All
you
right.
go.
We're going to move on to the rest of our show here. This episode of Board Game Breakfast is sponsored by Grip Mat. I did it! I pointed to the right side. Let's show you a quick little demonstration of some of their products here, and then we'll jump into the rest of the show. This show is sponsored by Grip Mat. These custom playmats come in regular texture or with their custom grip surface, so cards, tiles, chits, and miniatures won't slide around during your games. Make setup a breeze, upgrade your play experience, or just beautify your table with a grip mat. Check out their Etsy store to see their huge selection of custom playmats for many of the best games on the market.
All right, let's start off with Eye Catcher. So this is where we talk about games that we've been excited about or we've just seen on the internet, and it's caught our eye.
Or other news.
Or other news. Oh.
Yes.
Or other news.
Whatever caught our eye.
So mine is going to be the next Phil Walker Harding game, and this is called, what is it called? Misfit Heroes. So this is an AEG game. It looks like there's going to be some clear card, maybe some of that like deck construction stuff going on where you're slotting cards and changing them and stuff. But this takes place in a magical land where humans live with animals, and animals do human jobs, and humans and magical creatures and stuff. So it sounds like it's going to be a very cute little world that's going on here. And it's going to be a Phil Walker Harding game. So I'm very curious what his take on the deck construction thing is going to be.
So I know the doctors have the thing, like represents it. What is that for? The thing on the doctor's
I always
head?
assumed it was a light so they can see while they're doing surgery.
they're going spelunking in a cave. They have a big light on their forehead.
Well, back before they had like lights over tables that are super bright.
I'm guessing that it was maybe a reflective thing to help them see, because like doctors don't use that nowadays.
Modernly, no, but we have really good
I
lights.
I think you have to get to a certain level of doctor. Once you get there, then you get the headband thing.
Correct.
Like the Halloween doctor.
And I'm sure chat will be telling us real quick what it is. Let's see. It says record only mode. Okay, never mind.
Ah, so sad. We miss you all.
It's this wizard accountant that I wonder about. He's just like, buy waffles, buy waffles.
What a sad, sad life that wizard accountant leads, man.
Absolutely.
He just does magic with the numbers.
Being a wizard accountant has to be better than being a regular accountant.
Do you think he uses a Clevin? It's a magical Clevin.
Moving on here. My eye catcher for this week is coming from Salt and Pepper Games. It is a game called Onoda, who is So this is a solo game that they've done the solo game
Oh,
series
yeah.
with Resist and Witchcraft and a few other games here, or they have it's like the solo and 2-player box size line. I really like what Salt and Pepper Games does. This one's a fascinating story. The story of Hiro Onoda was the last soldier in the Japanese military to surrender in World War II. And by in World War II, I mean 24 years after the end of World War II. He was like a deep cover agent in, I forget where it was, if it was in the Philippines or exactly where, Lubang Island. And yeah, he basically continued fighting the war because he didn't hear that Japan had surrendered. And when people in like the neighboring villages were like trying to call out and be like, please stop attacking us, the war's over, he didn't believe them because he thought it was propaganda, because he thought that Japan would not have surrendered. So it's tragic. It's kind of funny in a sad way because people still got hurt and everything. But it is just a fascinating story of history, and I really like what Salt and Pepper's doing with their like historical line of games like this.
Yeah, I didn't know about this story until you guys were telling me it, and I'm like, oh man, that's super interesting,
It sounds so, you know what I mean? Like it's so.
You guys said that he had to get one of his like leaders that he personally knew who they were to like come and tell him, no, for real, dude.
Yeah, they had to
You're done.
bring his former like lieutenant out of retirement to go over there and be like, you are formally discharged.
That's crazy.
It's interesting because you would think, I mean, World War II is not that long ago. Like, there were radios, there were other things, you know what I mean? Like, it's weird that they couldn't get any other sort of information to him for like 20
But I
years.
mean, if you're trained to do your job, I mean, he did his job.
Yeah, but somebody should have contacted him.
Well, he thought a lot of it was propaganda.
He
Also-
just thought it was all fake.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, after 30 years living in the jungle, you'd be like, all right, when's my shift over, boss?
Or he's like, I'm just staying here. Like,
I'm sure it's
this is my life now.
honor and duty sort of thing.
Yeah.
Absolutely,
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sure,
But
definitely.
yeah, I'm very curious to see what they do with this. A designer I'm not familiar with offhand, but yeah, I'm super excited. I like what Salt Pepper Games does. That's my eye catcher.
My eye catcher is Mellow Dice, which is I guess it's like a website you can go to that basically people have put together all of these different like playlists, and you type in the name of a game and it'll give you a playlist that has thematic music to play with the game. One of the things I really miss is the fact that like since we do so many live plays, we can't like just play all sorts of different music. As we play the games and stuff like that, because all the copyright stuff, it'll immediately flag even if we play for a few seconds. But like I used to always love playing music in the background, playing games. Like if I'm playing War of the Ring, like you have to play the Lord of the Rings soundtrack, if you're playing different things. And it's so cool because like you can just type in the name of a game and there's all these different curated playlists of tons and tons of songs that kind of like help match the theme and vibe of a game. And I think this is really cool just because I enjoy getting into that theme. I enjoy having that little background ambiance, especially with a thematic game. But yeah, you can play even things like Tapestry and have like, oh, there's the Civilization music playing in the background or just different songs playing, which we can't really play them here either because once again, copyright infringement. But yeah, it's cool.
Huh.
But yeah, they even have like all sorts of stuff. One of the first ones Tom typed in was like Last Light, and it was all this spacey stuff. I'm like, I was thinking about like trying to make something like that, but somebody's already done it. That's kind of cool.
I wonder
So,
where it pulls
background
the music from.
I think maybe they have gone through and done a bunch of it and like chosen which ones. Like maybe there's an option where you can also add them to the playlist sort of thing too.
Yeah, make
I'm not sure if it's
recommendations
like
or something maybe.
fan curated.
Oh,
or
I see. They're
whatever.
just going on YouTube, though.
Yeah, it is
like
just
that's where
coming
it's just
from
pulling
YouTube.
it right from YouTube.
It's
okay.
just playlists, but the fact that you can type in the name of a game and it automatically does a curated one that like matches like, oh, this is all, and you can submit songs to each of the playlists and things like that, So it's just cool to have that background music and ambiance. So let us know if you guys listen to music while you're playing your games,
I want to see the BGG link to this in the future. So that you can like go on BGG. You know how it has like the
sleeve
it,
sizes
yeah,
and
and
stuff.
then they have like a listen to it.
Sleeve it, listen to it, bop it. Ow!
Twist it. Yeah.
All right, no, that's really cool. And I mean, when we played Tapestry, every time I'd be like, Civ 6 soundtrack.
Oh, 100%,
That's awesome.
100%. There's a beautiful soundtrack.
It's so good. And yeah, there's certain games that I particularly want music to, and certain ones that I don't. But
Most Cthulhu games, I feel like, need music.
all right.
Yeah.
Let's
Oh.
listen to the suave sounds of the Industrial Revolution.
Do we recognize any of these songs?
This is the name of the first game.
Who says Eurogamers don't like theme?
I mean, I would say that it makes the game like just feel that much more thematic. Even if you are playing a cube pushing Euro, it's still
Ooh.
like just that background ambience.
This one's called Structural Analysis.
There you go.
I saw
Almost-
Carbon Harvest.
Almost as cool as Demon Souls.
They're basically the same
The
thing.
cool thing is like I think all of the songs that I heard were just like ambient music sort of stuff and stuff without lyrics, which is just so like that stuff's really
That's what
good
you
for
want.
playing games. Exactly
Yeah,
what you want.
that's what you
know?
want. Yeah, for
So,
sure.
We're going to have to try this next time we play Brass. Like
We do.
I type this in almost kind of as a silly, like,
We might play
let's
Brass this weekend.
do
You
it.
got that Grip Mats playmat.
Oh,
We do.
we
Look at that.
do.
That's called a plug. All right. So anyway, there you go. That's awesome. I've never really messed with this. I've heard about it for a long time, but I'm happy to like actually dig in and look at it.
Yeah, I'm definitely gonna put a link to this on my phone so I can just click done. All right.
Smart.
Well, I guess we can get to some contributors.
Hello, this is Oliver, and today I want to talk about a steal of a game that I got at Gen Con last year. It was free. And that game is The Adventures of Robin Hood. And I just want to get right into it. I'm really excited I got to play the game because immediately when I laid eyes on it, I was like, that's cool because I like that fantasy type theme. And I've always kind of been drawn to that, so it's cool that I finally get to play it. Yeah, and I just think the theme is really cool. I like the fantasy theme, and I like Robin Hood. What can I say? The things I don't like are some of the components. Like when you're drawing out of the bag to get the pieces out, you're kind of just drawing like blank colored discs and cubes. And I wish those would fit a little bit more thematically with the game. Like change them into like swords for battling or something like that, just to make it a little more thematic. And also, I don't love the board too much because when I take the actions off the board and flip them to the other side to kind of see how the story goes or whatever, I feel like I'm ripping the board up when I do that every time. And not just feeling like I'm ripping up the board, I am ripping up the board. And I'm not excited to see that in the future when I try to finish the campaign. But one component I do like is the book that they have. And I generally feel like it's really cool that they made a whole story about this. And it's like telling the story of Robin Hood in board game form. And I think it fits really thematically, and I think it is really cool. And I also like how you move around the board with your little character pieces and how you have to move in the shadows to try to get away from the guards. And I just think that part is really cool. And overall, those were my goods and bads about the game. But overall, I really like playing as the character of Robin Hood, and it's really enjoyable. So have a good breakfast. Bye.
This is a segment where we take a look at a board game based on an IP, and I tell you the IP and the mechanisms match. Today we're looking at Scooby-Doo's Escape Room Haunted Mansion. So when you start out in the room, this is kind of how the game's going to go. You're going to see here there's going to be a number on her. It's going to be Research 1. And as you go through the different characters, like Scooby will smell 4, and that will be his book. So they all kind of work the same. So you're going to have Research 1, and you're going to go here and put them at the beginning, and you can start looking around. Well, that's only a 3-digit number, so that's not going to work. It's going to tell you you're going to need something else. Probably a key because it's a door. 1401, 1301, 1201. So I'm just going to show you the first one that you might do. Not really a spoiler, but you're going to open up Velma's book, which has 1000 through 199. We're looking for 1201. It'll tell you you're in the foyer. So if you're not in the foyer, then you don't want to read this. You're on the wrong path. Then you kind of read what it tells you to do. It'll tell you to reveal card 27. You'll go through the deck of cards. You'll find number 27, and then you will reveal it. And I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but that's kind of how the game will go. In this game, each player is going to play as a different member of the team, which is really just reading the book when it comes up and it's their turn. But as you're going through the mansion, you're going to be solving escape room type puzzles in order to try to determine who is the bad guy. You're going to rip their mask off at the end and see if you are right. This one it was kind of hard, I'll be honest with you. For ours as kids, I was letting the kids drive a lot of the game. It did have some challenges that were very puzzling, let's say, and very hard to do, especially the one where you're in 2 rooms. That one was very difficult for us. But there's a lot of clues, and it kind of pushes you through it, and you can have a really good time with this one. But does it feel like a Scooby-Doo game? Absolutely. You are the gang. You're Scooby-Doo and the crew, and you are trying to solve this mystery as you go through. And just like the show, you're trying to rip off the mask and find out who the bad guy was. and hopefully you'll be right. I felt like the game wasn't too cheap in that either. I felt like you could kind of see where they were going with it, and you could guess it if you were paying attention to details. So for us, this has been a winner, and one I can easily recommend to you.
All right, top 10 today. So as we are not truly live, I hate to emphasize this point, but what you're seeing is a facsimile of the real Chris, Roy, and Wendy.
Your ancient
I'm
writings?
live right now, but
right.
they're just not seeing us yet.
So,
Oh, we're time traveling. I'm so excited.
So normally with our top 10, we pick 3 things each, and then we leave it up to the live chat to pick a number 1 pick. And instead, we're just going to do it in the comments. So if you're watching this, comment below, and the most liked up, most thumbed response to the top 10, say top 10 number 1 or number 1, and put your answer. Whoever gets the most thumbs, you'll win a virtual high five from us, the facsimile of us.
I only fist bump. That's not true. I'll high five. That's fine.
All right, so let's cut over to the topic of the top 10 today. This is top 10 pen and paper games.
Because back to school.
Yeah,
This is Wendy's
this
idea.
is in honor of everyone going back to school, including me right now.
It's
I'm out of this work.
It's
so.
insanely hard to get together all of the things for your kids to go back to school.
Oh my goodness.
Like it's like a
gosh.
madhouse.
Well, then they send you a list, and then not all the stuff on the list can you find at a normal store. You have to order some off of like the internet from magical places. And then like they have specific requirements. Like I needed plastic folders in red, green, and blue, but Walmart only had blue, and they had like obsessive amounts of blue, but no green and red.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. So I bought a bunch of different
it's like-
folders, and I was like, just bring them all to school and
It's like
figure
a
it out.
scavenger hunt in a mosh pit, basically.
Yes. It's utter chaos.
Except it's all moms. Except when, the
So it's not a
husband's
mosh
helping
pit,
the
it's a
moms
mom
that are
pit?
just like, I found the easy to find glue sticks. Do
I
you want a
would've-
pack of 1,000,000 of them?
You know what they didn't have? They didn't have pencil sharpeners, and they didn't have erasers. I
Oh.
couldn't find those at Walmart. Walmart should have erasers and pencil sharpeners. That's like very
Not
basic.
during back to school season.
I guess,
Anyway,
yeah. Yeah.
top 10 time.
Yeah, during back to school shopping is when it's the hardest to find school supplies, right?
Yes, for
Yeah, it's because it's all on discount.
So what did you do? Did you buy green spray paint and like jankly like spray paint some of our daughter's folders? You have a green folder now, kid.
No, she
Don't
has a
inhale.
plastic one with cherries on it, and then a paper red
It's
one,
banned.
and a paper green one, and we'll see what happens.
Wendy Yee, rule breaker.
That's right.
All right. Anyway,
No structure.
so welcome to back to school season. The driving in Homestead is now horrendous, but it's time for pen and paper games, I guess.
That's right. I think we're starting with you, Chris.
That we are. So there's no real structure to what we're like. Does the game primarily feature like writing on paper? It's on the list.
Primarily, I just said, did it have it at all? And I put it on the list.
All right. So with that, starting off at number 10 here, Super Mega Lucky Box. Now we also agreed that pen could be like dry erase pen, right?
Yeah.
So Super Mega Lucky Box, the number 10 pick. This is like bingo, the roll and write game, or roll and write bingo, or whatever you want to call it. It's super lucky, it's super mega, and it's so box.
It's so box right now. I mean,
Yeah.
look, those numbers are in a square, which
Yeah.
is box.
I like just checking off the numbers. You complete a row or column, you get a bonus. It's so simple, but it's very enjoyable, easy to teach, and this is one of those games you could literally teach anybody. Like anybody who doesn't really play games.
A 2-year-old, easy.
This is one that you guys have raved about so much. Like, I wonder if I should. I've never played it. I wonder if I'd like it or be able to play it with some of my party game friends,
This one is extremely light, and I think that's the thing is it's like too light for me, unless the group that's playing wants to play.
Right.
Like it's not one I'm gonna pull out. I think I'd rather pull out something else, but
Oh, I have fun with it. There's an app. You can play it on Board Game Arena. I've played it
cool.
a lot of different places.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. I think that's a good way to sell. This is like a roll and write game that is great for a party setting.
yeah,
Like your party
very light.
party game friends. Yep.
Nice.
So there you go.
Light
That's
and
number
chew.
10. Number 9,
Number 9, is that me?
I believe so.
Was it? It's the Nora. Okay, this is the croak and roll and write because I love saying those words together. It's fabulous. So this, you got like a crokinole board with the 4 regions, and you flick discs 1 through 5, and wherever those numbers land determines how many, like what section you're going to write in, and then what level of action you get to take in that section. And so this is just one of my favorite. Like, it's so unique and it's got a fun feel, and it's like dexterity meets roll and write. So maybe Roy would like it.
I played it a few times.
Did
It's
you like it?
still checking boxes and circling things. I do like the
It
flicking
sure
part.
is.
Okay, well, I like the checking boxes and circling things.
I like the flicking part a lot, and that's why Wendy always wins, because she's a better box checker than me in this game. She destroys me every time.
I get all the cactuses and bunnies.
Well, there you go.
Yeah.
I've played this several times actually, but yeah, it's fine.
All right.
I did try to specifically not have a ton of roll and writes on my thing because I figured you guys would have that covered. So I picked other style games, and the first one here is Freelancers. You get to write in your characters' names. You are still checking boxes and things like that occasionally, but you're also like moving around on a map and checking that off. This is like a very story-heavy, like lots of voice actors, and gives you a little bit of that D&D vibe, but extremely like zany, you know? And I like how simple it is to play the game and just play through the story. It's just really just that adventure. You know, it gives you that adventure fantasy. It gives me almost a, Adventure Time feel. Like it's almost like post-apocalyptic fantasy with all these crazy, like almost seems like mutiny type characters, but they're just kind of like zany stuff going on, and I love it. It's just so funny.
I need to play
More of this,
one.
right?
I keep saying more, and really, I just haven't played it. I've run the live stream of y'all playing it,
Oh, okay.
and I felt like I was there the whole time. I was like having so much fun. I was like, oh, I haven't actually like played the game.
I think that's half of it, is literally just going through that story. Plaidhead did such a great job just making it so fun, you know? And it has using a pencil and checking things off and writing things down. When you get different objectives, you write it down, and maybe that affects other things in the future and stuff like that, and affects your stats and stuff like that. So it's kind of fun.
Pen and paper game, it counts.
It counts.
Yay!
All right, number 7. This one strays away from roll and write as well. This is Doodle Dash. I love drawing games. I especially love when the drawing game gives you such a short time frame that everyone's going to have to draw poorly. And so this one's a race. That's why it's called a dash. And so you're trying to make someone guess the clue by drawing it as fast as you can, and then you grab a token, right? You grab the little totem, and you're like, okay, I'm done. They get to look at mine first and guess. But whoever's second gets to roll a die until they hit the one side that has like the end round marker on it, and then everyone else has to be done. Every time I play this, I see someone draw really fast, grab the totem, and then the other person is like going really fast, rolls the die, and cannot hit it. And so the other people are just like taking their time, doing a nice drawing. But still, most of the drawings turn out looking like this.
Yeah. I mean, that's how my drawings look in any of these kind of games anyways.
I love that. We had a live stream where I drew the most terrible horse ever, and Tom still got it. And it was just mind-blowing to me of how, like, it was just like, and then, like everybody else is going on for forever. Like, they're doing all these different drawings, and then Tom's like, is it a horse? I was like, yes!
It's a good thing it wasn't like a goat or something.
Yeah, it could have been anything. Honestly, it could have been anything.
Such a dumb game, but so amazing. All right, that was number 7.
That's great.
Number 6, Wendy.
Alrighty. My next one is Welcome to the Moon. So this is one of my favorite roll and writes. For one thing, this box comes with so many different maps, and it's space themed, Roy. Have you played this one?
Do you check boxes and cross off things?
In
So many boxes and numbers.
It's fine, guys. It's fine.
It's fun because each map has a different system. Because I really liked the original Welcome to game. And then this took that concept and it just made it so that there's more variety and more excitement and space. So I enjoy the theme. I enjoy the rolling writiness of it. And I think it's a fun game.
All right, number 5.
Yes, Telestrations, which is similar to your game, but
It is.
still very different. This is like Telephone the game, but with drawing and writing down words. So basically, everybody, a lot of people know what Telestrations is, but it's used to be called like Eat, Poop, You Cat or something like that. When it was like just a whatever game. But now you can basically, one person writes down a word, the next person has to draw that thing, the next person has to write down what they think that thing that was drawn is, the next person has to draw it again. And the bigger the group you play this with, the crazier things end up getting. And drawing poorly actually makes this game much better, you know? So
Yeah, I was like, that picture of the couch potato on the screen looks way too good.
Yeah, and it's funny because you have those people that like draw really, really good things, but sometimes they're drawing a really good thing of some insane thing that somebody wrote before, you know?
Right,
So,
and then the next person guessing is like way
in
off
the
base,
world,
even though
you
it's
know?
such a good drawing, yeah.
and it's just so fun. I think there's been barely any times I've ever played this game without just crying laughing. Like, this is barely a game. And I mean, I sometimes do play with the rules a little bit. I know everybody's like, oh, never play with the rules. But there's the thing where it's like, oh, whoever drew the best picture, you give them a point or whatever, which is just like, or the funniest picture, you know?
Oh, okay.
And we kind of do that a little bit when we do play. But it doesn't matter. We don't care about points. It's really just the funniness of the journey of drawing all the different stuff on there. So, yeah, it does have a pen, and it has dry erase boards. So, counts.
Counts. I accept.
This play of Telestrations and Doodle Dash live play were two of the funniest things that we've ever done live. Boy, all right. Number 4 for me here. This one is going to be the Next Station series. I really enjoy these ones. This is
these
London,
aren't pens.
Tokyo,
These are
or
pencils,
Paris.
Chris. I don't think it counts.
Everything counts in large amounts. Depeche Mode. Thank you very much. So this one here, you flip over cards and then you draw lines connecting to different like triangle shaped station or square or pentagon or whatever, right? And so just drawing these subway maps is super cool. And then you get to see at the end of the game, you're like, I drew that. It kind of looks like a subway map. I'm glad I don't live in that city, but it kind of looks like a subway map. So I love that.
Also, you switch pencils and you have to sharpen them, so it fits with the school theme, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, share your pencils, kids.
And here in Florida, we take the subway to school.
That
subway.
would be called the submarine.
The subway sandwich.
We're at sea level, Wendy. We do not have a subway.
Okay, my last one for me is Hadrian's Wall. This is my absolute favorite roll and write game. So this is more heavy. So this is like a full invested game that you're playing. And you're basically building up your military and your army and your walls and all that kind of stuff. And it has a lot of elements that remind me of Paladins.
From
the West Kingdom, yeah. Because you're getting meeples, you're getting workers, and then you're using those workers, and as you spend them, you get rid of them, and you cross off boxes and circle things and do all that stuff on your mat. But then that gives you more workers, and so you start with like being able to do 4 things, and suddenly you've done like 50 in a turn because you keep getting stuff as you're spending stuff. And it's a lot of fun.
It's good stuff.
Yep.
Roy.
All right, my next one here is the one that probably all of you were about to comment just a second ago, but I saved you. I wrote it first, and that is Dungeons and Dragons, pen and paper role-playing game. I love Dungeons and Dragons. I've said many times that I exclude role-playing games from my top 100 because Dungeons and Dragons would probably be number 1 if I didn't. I love playing D&D, and you do your character sheet, and that's one of the things, like creating that stuff out. People drawing paper maps, drawing all that stuff. There's so much using pens and papers in D&D. And
Which edition? We got to know.
I mean, I played 3.5. I know a ton of people hate it. I played a ton of 4th. I did a whole ton of DMing, but 4th is like a tactical miniatures game / board game. And that's why D&D people hate it. But I love miniatures games and board games. So I like 4th edition. But 5th edition is what I'd currently play if I have my druthers anyway, because 5th edition just makes it so much easier. And you can kind of play it however you want, you know. But yeah, I played a ton of Gam World growing up, but people know what D&D is more than that. So
Yes, fair.
Yeah, basically the same thing with post-apocalyptic.
D&D is really just fantasy Gamma World, right?
Yes, basically 100%.
All right. And as we said, the number 1 here, vote for your number 1 in the comments. So go ahead and comment what's your favorite pencil and paper game or pen and paper game, and then go ahead and
Vote for Pedro.
Likey, whichever ones that you like the most. And we'll see in next time we do breakfast. Maybe we'll just kind of revisit this topic.
Oh.
Because we have that power.
We do.
Time travel.
We make the choices.
All right, let's move on.
Hi, this is Rich Saunders, and welcome to Co-op Gestalt, a place to talk about cooperative games, cooperative game mechanisms, and sometimes solo games. Today we're going to talk about something called the chair test. The chair test is something I've discovered I do when I'm playing games, is I like to put the rules away from the main action so I can consult them. Now there's 3 main things I've noticed for a rule book to do really well on the chair test. 1, it has to lay flat. 2, it has to have fairly big fonts and fairly big form factor. And 3, it can't flop over on the edges. So this one does pretty good. It sits flat on the chair next to me. It does open up and it has decent font. But it is a little small. This rule book right here would probably get like a B+ on the chair test. A rule book that doesn't do particularly well on the chair test is the King of Monster Island rule book. And notice how it flops around and is really hard to consult as you're looking through it. It lays flat and everything, but it's so hard to use. It gets like probably a D. And A rulebook that does actually quite well on the chair test is the Batman Gotham City Chronicles rulebook for the 1 versus mini game. It looks really well, and the chair next to me is very easy to consult. However, unfortunately, a rulebook that completely fails the chair test is the Gotham City Chronicles solo and co-op expansion. It doesn't lay flat next to you. I have to hold it open with the box right there. It's got a really tiny font. It doesn't flop over, but it's just almost completely unusable without extra help. At the end of the day, the chair test is really kind of silly. What chairs do you use? These are the standard Costco folding chairs, ANSI standard. So these are the ones I use. You may have bigger or smaller chairs, but it is sort of a way to consider how good is a rulebook for consulting it. Do you put your rulebook on the table? Do you put your rulebook on a side table? Do you put your rulebook on a chair? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, I'm Rich Saunders. Look for us on the web at coopgestalt.com. Have a great day.
Hello, my name is Aaron and welcome to One Word, One Question. Today's word is rules, and the question is, what's your approach to house rules? And most people in board games have encountered some sort of house rule, such as the horrible decision to place money on free parking in Monopoly and extend the game for no reason other than to torture your friends. But there are other rules that are relatively harmless, such as drawing your tile after your turn in Carcassonne so that you actually have time to think about it and maybe reduce some analysis paralysis. So the answers here are going to be A, you refuse to use house rules. You play the game as the designer intended because that is what is balanced in your view. Answer B, if you occasionally use house rules, if you feel that it fixes the game. There's even some instances where an expansion introduces a rule that was not in the base game, and people just decide to use that new rule in the base game going forward, such as the 10-card market in Machi Koro. And answer C, if you just use house rules whenever you feel like it. Maybe there's certain cards that you feel are unbalanced. I know that sometimes Kickstarter games end up having errata for certain things. I don't really delve into that. It's just something that I see. So again, those are the options here. I'm kind of in the middle of the road. I do think that there are some house rules that are potentially helpful and obviously some that are harmful. So let me know your thoughts in the comments, and if you enjoy the content, consider checking out Board Games, Bricks, and Hobbies. Take care. Bye.
What we do here is go back.
All right. Old school time.
For our old school game today, we're going to talk about a game based on one of the best movies from a few summers ago.
I don't think there's any way that could be true.
And that is Battleship.
It's back to school time, right? Every kid played some games of Battleship when they should have been doing other things, right?
Did you all play this with pen and paper, or did you play this with like the Battleship game, like the official?
I don't think I ever played it with pen and paper. I always did it with the actual,
with like the little pieces
little
that you put out.
Oh, I always did. I did both. Yeah. I mean, before it was the main use for grid paper when you were in school, until at some point.
D&D maps. No,
that's also true. Yeah.
Nerds.
Yeah, you had a different childhood than me. Yeah, I played a lot of Battleship just on pieces of paper. Created my own variants of Battleship.
Oh, did you?
Oh, yeah. No, you played some. We played like 4-player Battleship with torpedo rules and other things like that. But
no comment. No, yeah.
Oh, I'm trying to imagine kids in our day if they were to play just Battleship, because kids don't just have pen and paper around anymore, right? They always have their tablets. Do you think that that's what they're using the spreadsheet functions for?
They could download the Battleship app, I'm sure.
They're just on like Google Sheets
You
making
think that
up Battleship.
you feel like kids have no idea what paper is.
They have no idea what paper is.
My kids destroy all the paper.
We live in
my
the future,
house
Chris.
Immediately as fast as they can grab it.
No, I know. Our daughter has like a whole. That's like we give her a ream of paper every few months to be like, here.
That's her allowance. It's a
Yeah.
paper. Just wait till she figures out how to start printing money. I'm just kidding.
We don't have a printer. We're safe.
Okay.
Yeah. No, I'm sure that kids still play tic-tac-toe and whatnot. You know what I mean? There's still pen and paper games that they play, but we've never played Battleship with our daughter.
I feel like
that's
we
crazy.
should introduce this because I did just play tic-tac-toe with her the other day because we were bored.
Not
just
for the
waiting
first
something.
time ever she has played before.
She's played Battleship?
No, tic-tac-toe.
I played tic-tac-toe
Oh.
with my son, and he figured out the I can't lose strategy. He failed it the first time.
The
but-
corner strategy.
Yeah, he knows how to like make it so he can't lose. He's like, I'm going first. I'm like, okay, you know. So he had to prove to me that he could beat me in tic-tac-toe. I'm like, yep, I will never lose to you if you go first. Yep, you're right. It's broken. But Battleship is fun. Did you have like a strategy for putting out your ships? I'm sure everybody's done the thing where one time, it's a terrible strategy. You put them all in one line, and then they just continue to hit every single thing.
single one.
It's a terrible strategy. But I was a kid. I didn't know better.
The edges strategy is fun, where you just put them all like in different corners and different sides and stuff.
Yeah, as far away from everything as you can.
Yeah. I didn't have like a go-to strategy.
Does it hold up is the question.
Does
I
it
haven't
hold
played
water?
this since being a kid.
I think it's good for like kids. I think it's fun, like trying to figure out and deduce, like, oh, I got to hit this direction or hit that direction. I don't know that it's something that you'd want to go back to all the time, you know. But I mean, honestly, BGG doesn't seem like they're very fond of it. You know, it's drugged down.
Yeah.
But
See, my
I guess-
Battleship had blue and gray on the outside, not red and black.
I guess mostly people do the whole like go diagonal for shooting, and then when you hit something, like just shoot around and like go diagonal for like just try to figure out a grid of where they are, and then just whoever gets lucky enough to find the ships first, you know.
Right. I mean, I almost view this as like a game of patience. Like it's good for kids to play because it's a good time waster of sorts. And it is a little bit of deduction and it's a little bit of thinking, okay, what would the other person do?
And it teaches them how to read grids. I mean, you
And-
have to count. You have to be like, yes, okay, I won this.
That's true.
I think it's good for like mental spatial reasoning, I guess. Like in your head, you have to be like, okay, if they're there and then this missed, but this hit, which direction should I go next? You know, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one of those games that just a few people have tried to make, and there's like re-implementation, Pirates of the Caribbean re-implementation. There's different rules variations. Originally, when it was made, actually, in 1931, as BGG shows here, or like some of the early versions of it, it potentially dates back to even like 1890, where there were pencil and paper kind of versions of it. It used to be that you got 5 attacks on your turn if you had 5 ships. And as you got fewer and fewer ships, then you had fewer attacks.
Oh,
Which,
that definitely seems like first player advantage.
right. Which, I mean, thematically it's cool and all that stuff, but it is just one of those rules that unfortunately punishes losers, right?
Oh, that'd be funny if it was simultaneous reveal Battleship. Like you write down the coordinates of where you're firing, and then you like hand each other papers. And then you're like, oh, you know what I mean? You shoot it once.
You shoot it once. Oh,
Like you
at the
shoot
same time.
simultaneously at the same time.
But why would you have to pass paper back and forth? I guess that's what I don't understand.
Once again,
Because
no
it's more
comment.
fun and
Like,
it's
what in
secret.
the world, Wendy?
Remember, when the kids don't know what paper is anymore, okay?
They don't. They don't.
The kids have grown allergic to paper. Yeah, Tom did a top 10 games better than Battleship.
Ooh, that's cool. Yeah.
Captain
look at that
Sonar was
Spectre
definitely on
Ops.
there, huh?
Yeah, buddy. Not alone. I remember that.
Was this
Yeah,
pre?
Captain Sonar, Not Alone, Escape from Outer Space. Yeah, that's
Oh,
awesome.
okay.
Yeah, there's a lot of deduction-y style games that fit
Yeah.
that sort of vibe, which is awesome. I mean, and Battleship can be like that
Oh,
That's
Fugitive. Yeah.
Fugitive.
first step into those style games. But yeah,
Yeah,
I like
mean,
deduction.
I would scrub through this video more, but we are using the hotspot internet from my phone. So
Well, there you go.
anyway, that's just a fun look at
that
old
is
school
fun.
game Battleship.
Happy breakfast, everyone. Today I'm going to talk to you about Pokemon. Because I've now got multiple Pokemon versions of games in my collection. I've got Pokemon just cards, I've got Pokemon Splendor, Pokemon Bag of Chips, and there's so many other versions. I was very close to even getting Pokemon Point Salad. Yes, you can get Pokemon rethemings of a number of different, very popular games, completely licensed, but unfortunately pretty much only ever available in Korea, so you have to import them. That comes with a fair substantial cost, and do they really benefit you? Well, I really like Pokemon as a theme. I used to watch the show, I used to trade the cards loads, play the game loads, play the game on the Game Boy Color, all that sort of stuff from long ago, so there's a huge sense of nostalgia there for me. And when you take a solid game like Splendor and put a fun theme on it, it does sort of just hold its own. The theme doesn't really do much for that game, and with a fun, bright Pokemon theme, it's pretty fun. Should you rush out to get them, you really do need to look at your import charges and postage, because otherwise you're going to break the bank on what is effectively, for certainly like Splendor or Bag of Chips, the same game, maybe a minor tweak, an extra rule to get the Pokemon theming in there, and that's about it. You could easily go and buy Marvel Splendor and Splendor for the same price that it cost me to import Pokemon Splendor. So just know that it's not definitely a good investment for you. But what's one game that you thought, oh, let's blow the budget and import this special version of it? Let us know in the comments section below. Until next time, enjoy the rest of your breakfast.
Hello, and welcome back to Retro Board Game Corner. Here I have Snoopy Come Home, published in 1973 by Milton Bradley. This is a 2 to 4 player game.
Wait. I know what this game's all about. It's about Snoopy gets a letter from Lila.
Wait. Who's Lila?
Lila is Snoopy's previous owner before Charlie Brown. She's in the hospital. She wants Snoopy to go visit her. So he packs up his bags, gets what's stuck, and off to the hospital he goes. He stays there until she feels better. But then he gets homesick and he wants to come home. And that's where the game starts.
Did you just make all that up? How do you know all that?
I can read.
Well, let's set this up and show you how it works. This is what the game board would look like set up. Snoopy's going to start here at the hospital. Everybody else is going to start here at Snoopy's doghouse. The game is played in 2 parts. The first part, everybody is going to try to get to Snoopy first. The second part is bringing Snoopy back home. At the beginning of every player's turn, they're going to roll a 6-sided dice and follow the yellow arrows as they try to make their way to the hospital. When a player makes it all the way to the hospital, they remove the Snoopy pawn off the board and then replace their pawn with a new pawn. After a player has got Snoopy from the hospital, everybody will get dealt 3 cards. The cards will tell you to go to Lila's apartment or go to the amusement park, or go to the train station, or put a no dogs allowed sign which will force a player to lose a turn. Play will continue as the Snoopy player will try to make it back to Snoopy's doghouse as quickly as possible, but be careful because another player can go ahead and steal Snoopy from you. The first player that can get Snoopy back to the doghouse will win the game. And that was Snoopy Come Home. Well, that's all the time I have for now. If you have a comment below, or you can X them to me at Retro Board Gamer. And as always, may your rolls be high.
X forever.
Our contributors have been on fire today.
I love Estervald. It's so awesome.
Astroval and his family.
Aww.
Rich Saunders with his rule book on the chair.
On the chair.
assessment.
I thought it was going to be under the table for a second. That was amazing.
Next video, he's in Snoopy's doghouse.
Probably.
All right, so for our Dice Tower archive today, since Wendy was like, oh, we should make the theme of this episode back to school.
Yeah.
There's a list from 10 years ago, a top 10 list that Tom, Sam, and Z did called Top 10 Games for the Classroom. This one's interesting because this is our 4th highest viewed video in history.
Viewed a ton of times.
1 million views.
That's crazy.
It's kind of amazing that Tom hasn't redone this yet.
He has, actually.
Oh, has he?
Yeah. So I think the reason that this one has 1 million views is partly because it got, it kind of caught on to, homeschooling Reddits or something something it kind of just got latched onto because they redid this a year between 1 and 2 years ago with Tom, Z, and Mike, and it does not have 1 million views.
Yeah.
But that's part of the benefit of a video being up for 10 years.
The algorithm, man.
The algorithm.
Yeah. So
the anachronism.
Some of these are interesting picks, right? I'm trying to figure out how you'd use Thebes in the classroom necessarily, or what skills it would teach. You don't have to rewatch to hear all of this, but it is an interesting topic. Like, how do you use gaming for education?
Yeah.
Necessarily.
I feel like a lot of games you can you can use them to teach a concept in the classroom, even if they're not specifically an educational theme behind the game.
I was about to say there's so much like logic and reasoning that go into almost every single game you want to play that you can glean some sort of thing. I mean, even with like younger kids and just games that just allow you to take turns, you know. Waiting your turn is like a big deal, and being patient and good sportsmanship is a huge deal. And there's games that teach colors, and games that teach letters, and games that teach words, and games that teach so many different things, you know.
Right.
And, like math is such a big part of every single game, you know.
It is. Well, and I even think about like philosophy 101 in college is basically just a logic class, right? It's just about understanding is something a correct or is it a not correct thing? Is it false? Is it true? What am I trying to say? Anyways, yeah, and there's so much in that in board game rule reading. When we have a rules game question, we're like, okay, it says may, it says you must, it says, you know what I mean? Like there's so many of those little words that even just teaching a rule, learning to read a rule book is educational in
Reading
itself.
comprehension.
Yeah.
That's true. It's a funny list because it kind of spans a lot of it. It has concept on here, which is hitting a lot of what you guys are talking about, like those logic, like those fundamental kind of things. How do you describe something if you can't just use your words to describe it? And then also there's like Twilight Struggle and stuff on here.
History,
1960 making of a president. Yeah,
that stuff is definitely great for like older kids, you know. So.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I really
votes for
think,
women. I mean, that
I really think parents should be playing games with their kids. They shouldn't be playing their games with their kids. They should be playing kids' games with their kids. You know, I played so many games growing up, like myself, but then also like teaching my kids games. I taught them even games at a younger age than even I did. You know, there's so many amazing hobby games, so many amazing games that are age appropriate for the kids, and then they'll be able to like get into more things as they grow up. And I feel like a lot of those lessons you learn like stick with your kids. It's been so fun because my oldest is 11 and my youngest is 5. So like teaching my younger kids the same games I taught my older kids, or even seeing my older kids teaching the younger kids the games and helping them play through it is like really fun. Like working together, even stuff with like we play a lot of dexterity games too. Just having that manual dexterity of being able to like move stuff around. It's like, okay, I flip this card over, it shows a symbol. Where's that symbol? Oh, it's on that island. Okay, we're gonna move this thing over here. You know, it's just kind of fun, like seeing how much kids can learn and like grow from playing board games, and you're doing it together as a family. I think it's a big deal.
And that's why I think co-op games can be really cool. So we were playing a co-op game with our daughter this weekend, and her friend was over, and so her friend didn't want to have her own set of cards. Like she didn't want her own player power, whatever. So her and our daughter combined together, and they were a team. And then I was like, okay, you're the one who gets to move all the fire spirits. Like we gave her a job, and she seemed to really enjoy it. And the logic you could tell was it was working a little bit with her, but she's clearly not a board gamer. She's never played anything probably other than something very simple and basic, but we got to include her and it's fun.
Yeah.
And I think like learning to lose in games is a really important thing too.
Yes.
Like life is full of failures. Like I mean straight up, but you're always going to like mess up in things, but like be giving it a teachable moment and being like, okay, well, you did this in this game. Next time you should learn from like these mistakes or these strategies or whatever, and maybe do a little bit better. But you can apply that to almost every aspect of life. You are always going to be failing and trying to learn and make things better as you go along. So, and just having good sportsmanship is huge. You know, so
there's a cool list, cool thing to kind of look back on. And there is, as I mentioned, an updated version of it as well, from just a little over a year ago. So you can go watch. I think it's kind of fun to watch the older lists as well and then compare them to kind of recent picks and stuff.
Oh, for sure.
So there you go. Let's move along, and then we'll head over to the last segment.
Hey, I'm Jordan, and I like a good filler game, a game that is really quick, and you can kind of get people to the table really quickly, teach really quickly. And one of my new favorites in this genre, if you will, is Pray Another Day. Now, this is from some of my favorite designers, Matthew Dunstan and Brett Gilbert. I really enjoy their designs. And this is it's such a hard game to describe. Almost love letter-esque, where you're not, yes, you are playing a game, but the game is more happening above the table against the other players, not necessarily you focused on your board and you focused on the cards in your hand. You are really trying to outsmart and outthink the other people around the table. In this game, you all have the same 5 cards. They are all different animals, bear, wolf, lynx, owl, and mouse. I believe those are the 5. And they're kind of tiered. Bears at the top of the food chain, then wolf, then lynx, and so on. They can eat the animals below them on that food chain. And you're going to go on these hunts. Everybody's going to put one card face down simultaneously, and then at the beginning of each round you shout bear. That's the top of the food chain. Whoever played a bear gets to flip it over. If more than one bear was flipped, they scare each other away. If that only one bear flips, that bear gets to go for a hunt. They name one of the other animals below, and if anything gets flipped over when they shout mouse, all of those mice are eaten, and the bear survives the hunt and moves off to the side. And you're just going to kind of keep doing this over and over again, trying to keep your animals survive these hunts, and whatever cards you have kind of that are surviving give you those point values on there. A bear is worth only 1 point because it's not hard to survive a hunt with a bear, but a mouse surviving a hunt is going to give you 5 points. And you're just trying to get the most points for that. And it plays literally, like the box says, I think 15-20 minutes, and it plays in maybe 15-20 minutes. So when you're talking filler kind of game, especially one with neon, super attractive artwork, definitely this is it. This matches that description perfectly. I'm Jordan. Thanks.
Hi, it's Tarrant.
And Stella here from Maple University. Today we have Manhattan Project War Machine.
Yes, this is a game with dice and tableau building. You've got the board over there. You can.
Where's the board?
Where's the board?
Color matching top.
You're very well colour matched for that today. What will happen in this game, you have some dice who represent workers, and you do a Yahtzee roll on those, and they'll give you different types of actions, and you can pick the actions from the different wedges of the board, and these are different ways of getting resources, exchanging resources, and there's a bit of a lead and follow going on, because when you take an action, all of your opponents get the weaker version of that action. And then you're trying to use your turn to purchase buildings to contribute to the society's war machine. And it's got this two-paced thing where you place the workers out to take the actions, and then you bring the workers back and they activate the buildings that you've got. And so you need to balance the dice for both objectives.
And that is where the engine building comes. So you want to also build your tableau so that when you take your dice back, you can activate good buildings for your benefit, because towards the end of the game, the middle action is becoming a little bit weaker when you have a better action on your board. And getting the right building to combo with each other also quite important.
It's a game, as I say, it has that little positive player interaction.
Interactions, yeah, which I really enjoy.
Yeah. Most of the time you can kind of do your own thing and build your own thing. There's not that much you can do other than snaffle a building before the other person gets it to really stop them. So you are building a personal engine, but yeah, in an interesting kind of pace.
Really fun game. And then this is the designer of Seastat, which the two-player games that we really enjoy. So check it out, War Machine.
Mailbag.
It's mail time.
It's mail time.
Mail time. You know what that makes me want to do?
Wag your tail time?
Lick a stamp? I'm so glad that we don't have to lick stamps anymore.
Oh, I know. Yeah, the day that they were like, oh, you know what this technology exists called stickers? We'll just steal that. It's so dumb.
You don't have to lick envelopes either, because they either have a peel and stick or you can buy those envelope glue sticks. They look like the bingo markers, but they're just glue for envelopes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've never purchased one of those for myself. Anyway.
This is what it's like to live in the modern world, my friends.
Is going to not know what adhesive or saliva-based adhesive
tastes like.
They're not going to, yeah.
Or paper cuts on your tongue.
At some point, I'll ask my kid, do you know what envelopes taste like? And she's going to,
it's time to send them. That seems
time to send
okay.
Dad to the old folks home.
She barely knows what an envelope is. Goodness gracious.
It makes me want to listen to our guest mailman for the day.
So the question of the day is going to be, are there some games you'd rather collect than play? I think there's 3 types of games that I would rather collect than play. 1, or extremely out-of-print games that maybe I can't get my hands on again. I have a couple of those. One is a comic book game, and one is Camp Grizzly. The games are not fantastic, but I still find myself very hard to get rid of them. I don't think I would ever find them out in the wild again. And I think that can be a detriment sometimes to wanting to get rid of them if you can't ever get them back again. It's a little bit easier getting rid of something or purging them if you know you're going to be able to get them back at some point. The second type is collector's editions. I find them so unwieldy sometimes that it's kind of hard to get them on the table to play. And the more complex the game, the harder it is to have that big, giant collector's edition. With that said, War of the Ring is probably my most played collector's edition, and Suburbia is still in the shrink wrap, so go figure on that. The third type of game that I will collect instead of play are maybe vintage games. I have a collection with my daughter where she likes to go out and get autographs of actors and stuff, and we'll kind of showcase that in our house with the board game that would go with the movie, or sometimes I'll get the board game autographed by the actors or something, and that is something that maybe it would be a showcase piece at the house rather than something like I want to play this board game all the time. And there's a few nostalgia things that like, oh, I had this game as a kid, but I don't know if I want to crank it out and play it again right now because games have come so far from them. But sometimes with the little kids, I'll go back and play those. So the three types of games I would probably collect over play would be games that are far out of print, will never be printed again, and you won't see. Battlestar Galactica may be an example of that. The second type would be a collector's edition. You want that nice vintage piece that you can bring out whenever you want. That's kind of an heirloom type thing. And then the third one would be something that maybe has a nostalgic or sentimental value to you that you don't want to get rid of. And a good example of that is Angelina Ballerina, the game. I played that to death with my daughter when she was a little girl. And I don't even know if we have all the pieces, but I can't bring myself to get rid of it. And that's a great IP game you can play.
Hello.
That was weird.
All right.
It's interesting because I feel like his thoughts behind what he wants to collect are almost games that he's not willing to get rid of.
A little bit,
which I think is, I mean, that's part of a collection, right? You're not getting rid of it. For me, I think of the like chess and checkers and all those like abstract game sets that come in the nice wooden bookshelf boxes.
That's something you would like to collect?
That's something that if I had a nice bookshelf, I would collect that, but never want to really play it. Because that's the question, right? What would you collect but not
even
collect
if you don't
to
really
collect,
want
even if you don't want to play it, right?
Yeah.
That's something that I think like that looks nice, having a series of that on a nice bookshelf. Feels very classic.
Yeah, I've not that much. Strangely enough, I'm not that much of a collector overall. Like I could still part with like basically any of my games. The one that'd be closest is I get every single thing for Marvel Champions, but I actively play every single thing for Marvel Champions. I don't play it all the time or whatever, but I will have played the thing before I get the next one, you know?
Yeah.
So I make sure to play all this stuff. I mean, I don't have all the unmatched sets, and I actively am like, I have a lot of it already, you know?
Yeah.
But I plan on playing that stuff, and I plan on having it to actually play with. For my thing, is like, for the most part, like, if I'm not going to play a game, if I look at a game and it's sitting there just to collect dust itself, like I normally am like, oh, well, maybe I should actually get rid of it, you know? But, yeah, I can see a lot of value in people like wanting to display them and collect them, especially with like the signed stuff and putting them with different stuff. I do that a little bit with figures and stuff like that for anime, but not like really. Like I could still get rid of that stuff too. So.
Right. You actually actively try to sell some of that through.
Yeah.
Right.
But I of the things that he mentioned there, my favorite was probably like making those display pieces with some of the other memorabilia and like the signed stuff from conventions that he has.
That's the way to do it.
I think that's really good. Seeing that Scream game, because that's like a fine game. That was like a Joey like, it's pretty good kind of a game. You know what I mean? Like, so you have to love the IP and you have to love that like silly mood to be in to play it. But I could see it being like, it's part of like a display, and I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I like so we have two shelves at home. We have a Calyx, which is almost half of the cubes in it are display things, like our wedding picture and
your card collection and
things that we've
some
intentionally
Kirby
not
characters
cram-packed it with games so we could display a few cutesy fun things, a painting of penguins and things like that. We have a smaller shelf, which is just like card games. And that's kind of what I've been gravitating towards. Like if I'm going to collect something, I just like small little card games, small box card games and stuff. A lot of them are trick taking. A lot of them are fun little auction games. It's easy to be like, I'll also buy that because it's not going to take up much shelf space, and I can pull it out at kind of a moment's notice. I can pack like 5 of them, bring them to the retreat or bring them to convention or game night, and I'll probably play a lot of them. But even if I don't play them all the time, I do like just having that fun little display of card games that are a little bit zany, a little bit stranger, you know?
Yeah.
If there's like a series of game like that you have a lot of or you've gotten several of that you enjoy, do you feel like the need to like, oh, the next one I need to get it, or oh, the next one I need to get it? Or if you're like missing one, maybe you like skipped like one that came out, it's like, do I go back and get that one even though I don't even really like the test is even if you don't really like the game that much, you still need it to fill the slot.
No, I don't care about that
I'm
at all.
not there. Like I don't.
I've
do that.
never felt that. But I do like, for
like
example,
the number box games.
Right.
Oh,
exactly.
But like Lookout Spiele and Cosmos, they have that perfect square 2-player box size that I talked about. I really like. It is nice having several of those on the shelf next to each other. But like there's one that Wendy and I aren't really going to play with each other. I forget what it's called. But anyway, like, all right. So, no, not Targi. We don't own that one anymore.
We got rid of it.
Great Plains, the one that's kind of abstract.
Oh, yeah,
control. I bought that, and Wendy and I love it. Wendy doesn't really love it, and so I'm like, I'll probably sell that off, even though it fits so well with the other games right on the shelf. I don't really have a need to hold on to it. You know?
They'll make another
some
square
people are
box
like,
game.
I need every single one of the Tiny Epic games or whatever, that sort of thing. You know.
Yeah. No, us three are probably like the least collector-y
Collecty.
people.
Yeah, it's
in the
kind of
Dice
fun.
That's
Tower.
the interesting thing about the Dice Tower library is we have some of those collections. Like we have probably way too many of the
Tiny
Epic games. They don't get played.
Right.
I think at the last convention, only one of the games got plays. I think all the rest just sit there, but it looks cool as a collection.
Yeah, I think it's funny because we are the ones too that like, if there's games to go up for grabs, it's like, but it's gonna be in the library. Do I have the space at home for that? I'm just gonna like leave it here because I can play it out of the library. Everyone else is just like, "Do you see the new Kickstarter? I backed it." I'm just like, but isn't that gonna come in? Like, you haven't even played it yet. I mean, very much like a reason that I got into the Dice Tower was to watch reviews first and make informed decisions on whether or not I could purchase the game. And I think a lot of that has to do with frugality. You know?
Yeah.
Like very much just like
Different priorities.
I don't think I can make that work.
I think that, I mean, the only thing that I've really collected in my life was I collected music boxes as a kid. But I've never been a big collector in general. And all my music boxes were secondhand and broken. They were always missing pieces.
To be fair, I did start collecting that all of the Pokemon art that the one artist that I got from Gen Con does. So like he'll do a couple of those each year.
How big is your collection?
I have them just displayed above my my board game shelves, and I think I have like maybe 8 or 9 of them now, something like that. But like I'll get like 1 or 2 of them each year, whatever, at Gen Con, you know. So and I frame them and put them up above my board game collection. So it's like, cool, now I have this thing, you know, from the specific artist, and we now have a Delicious in Dungeon from the same artist that's like in the other room
In
there.
the main
so it's pretty
office
cool.
area, yeah.
That Tom showed off during Smorgasbord. So
Yeah. All right, so there you go. Yeah, we're not huge collectors, but everyone has the little things they like. Small card games, Pokemon art, super janky music boxes for no reason. All right, folks. Well, this is going to get posted up here shortly. We have some other stuff to do. And then, like I said, follow us. We're going to try to keep you abreast of what the situation is with the internet. Hopefully we have it by tomorrow. If not, you'll be hearing us not live. But
From the past.
you'll still be hearing us. Anyway, this is a facsimile of Chris Yee.
I'm Wendy Yee.
And I am Roy Kennedy.
It has been my pleasure to serve you today.
Hey folks, thanks for watching another one of our videos. If you like our videos, if you like our channel, you would love to game with us at one of our conventions. Check out Dice Tower Cruise, Dice Tower East, and Dice Tower West. Fantastic conventions where we play games with wonderful people, a humongous library, and lots of other events and stuff. Also, don't forget to check out our channel, like and subscribe. I'm Tom Bassel.